for Rochester. Barrett, 6 of 14 in the air. He has just 52 yards, and he has thrown one interception. So, Dave, so far, first half-wise, I've been impressed, I would have to say, with the fact that the Case offense has been so dominating in spurts, considering the weather conditions and the type of defense we expected Rochester to come in here and play with.
Well, I had to do a double take, Ed, when I looked at the time of possession. The Rochester offense on the field for 20 minutes in that first half. Case on the field less than 10 minutes in half number one, but used that very efficiently for 24 first half points. They lead it 24-0 here as we begin play in the third quarter. And what can you say about Joey Baum, who has come in and lent a steady hand to this Case offense, and Greg Debelak saying to Nick Stroud at halftime that Joey doing exactly what they hoped he would do, and that is just come in and engineer the offense and run the plays exactly as they would if Dan Whalen were in there, and he has done that, mixing it up well. And 4 different players rushing the football for Case in the third quarter. Case will have the ball to start play here in quarter number 3. Bobby Bott takes the football at his own 17, breaks through the line, out to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, down to the 40, to the 30. He's on the far sideline to the 20, to the 10. He takes it in for a touchdown.
Well, that's a nice way to start the second half, Dave.
He started at his own 17 and rumbles all the way back for a touchdown of some 83 yards to make it 30-0. Bobby Bott, the 6'1 junior out of Midview High School in Grafton, runs it back all the way for a touchdown. And Sam Coffey is out to try the extra point. Coffey, the sophomore, kicks it up and through the uprights. The PAT is good, and it's 31-0 Case, just underway in the third quarter. We'll take this 30-second timeout. Back with more from Case Field on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. With a bang for Case Western Reserve as Bobby Bott returns the opening kickoff of the second half, 83 yards for a touchdown. It's 31-0 Case as the third quarter is just 13 seconds old. 31-0, and the Spartans will kick off. Sam Coffey teeing it up at the 30-yard line.
What was amazing about Bott's return was he really wasn't touched as he went through the line, and then just made one move to the outside and outran the Rochester special teams to the end zone.
14:47 to play, and Coffey approaches the football, puts his right foot into it. It angles over near the far sideline. It's taken over there at the 28, and the return good for about 6 yards as Coolball brings it back, and he is knocked out of bounds. 14:42 to play in the third quarter, so only 5 seconds getting off the clock there. 31-0, Case leading it. And the Rochester offense will come back out. The football marked at the 38-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Yellow Jackets.
Officially, Dave, they're going to say 84 yards on the return for Bobby Bott.
So they tack a yard on to the return. Barrett to throw, goes over the middle, has a man open. That's Inglesby who makes the catch at midfield. Takes a step out to the 48-yard line of Case before he is hit and driven back. And that's where the Yellow Jackets will have the football marked as they get into Case territory.
With 3.5 minutes to play in the first half, Dave, this was a 17-0 ball game, and Rochester could probably still stay in their game plan at that point, run the football, mix in the pass. But after the touchdown by Bill Deitman at the 3:25 mark and then the opening kickoff return for the touchdown by Bobby Bott, Rochester's going to have to almost primarily go to the air in order to get back in this ball game.
14 and counting here in the third quarter. Adam Barrett goes and hands to Onyeruka, and he plows forward to the 45-yard line, and he is tackled right there. A second down and about 7 coming up for the Rochester Yellow Jackets. We hope you enjoyed our chat with Andrea Wadowitz of the Spartans volleyball team. They are playing a tournament this afternoon here at Case Western Reserve. Karen Farrell, the head coach, with the volleyball team off to their best start in over 10 years. Freshman Trisha McCutcheon currently leads the team in kills with 99 and blocks with 24 going into that tournament today. Adam Barrett goes back, hands to Onyeruka, breaking it around the left side, tries to turn the corner. He is hit by Ben Klabina and driven out of bounds. He is short of the first down.
Lisa Sala also over there for the Spartans, helping Klabina ride Onyeruka out of bounds.
Klabina gets up limping very noticeably as he jogs back to the huddle. They'll send in Christian Fredericks, and it looks like Klabina will head over to the bench, so hopefully he's all right. Klabina, a very important part of that defensive lineup for Case. 3rd down and 4, the football marked at the 42-yard line. Rochester operating in Case territory. Cool ball in motion. Back to handoff. This time they'll go to the fullback, and the football comes loose, but the tackle made, they'll give him forward progress out to the 39-yard line and short of the first down.
Jake May, Dale English on the bottom of that pile for Case. They put up the wall and prevented Onyeruka from getting to the first down marker. Now Mike Peliak checks out of the ball game as well. You were talking about Klabina. Peliak are now back in the ball game. Him and Klabina play that hybrid position. They have the ability to come up and play linebacker, but the speed to play in the defensive secondary, which allows Greg Doublak to make some adjustments and changes on that defensive front.
4th down and 1. They give it to Onyeruka, and he dives forward and gets the first down. So they were just a yard short, and Onyeruka gets him a new set of downs here as he plows ahead and gets down to the 37-yard line of Case. It is 31-0. The Spartans leading it. And now an injured player for Rochester.
Mike Cohen is down. Cohen 6'2", 291-pound junior.
Yeah, he is down and appears to have quite a bit of pain now in his left leg. And the trainers come out to take a look at the injured Yellow Jackets lineman. We will step away for a 30-second timeout here. We'll be back with more in the third quarter from Case Field in just a moment on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Hey, Nick. Again, that was Matt Cohen, the 6'2 sophomore, and he is getting help over to the bench, so an injury that appears to be pretty significant. Now Barrett will throw for Inglesby on the far sideline. It's incomplete. 2nd down and 10 with 11:46 to go in the third quarter. 31-0 Case here on a rainy day in Cleveland, Ohio. It's the home opener for Case. On the road at Oberlin next Saturday. Next home game is coming up on October 4th, which is homecoming here at Case. That'll be a 105 game against Denison University. Case 1-0 on the season. Rochester in their season opener. Rochester, a member of the UAA in many sports, but in football they play in the Liberty League. Now Barrett will fake a pass. Now he runs with it. Gets to the 30, to the 25, to the 20. Still on his feet. Pushed out of bounds near the 16-yard line. 21-yard run for Adam Barrett.
Most of Barrett's scrambling today has been after he looked downfield on a pass. That looked like a designed quarterback draw. And once he got into the defensive secondary, he cut it to the outside and wasn't stopped until he was pushed out of bounds by Derek Sharp inside the Case red zone.
11:30 to play in the third quarter. 1st and 10 from the Case 16. Rochester with the football, trying to get on the board for the first time. Onyeruka is hit as he tries to go over the left tackle, and first man to him for Case was Jeff Brown, the junior linebacker who came in and got a hand on the ankles of Onyeruka. No gain there as the football remains on the 16.
Well, Brown plays with such intensity and speed, and it seems like every play he's picking a slot to run through, coming on a blitz, and that time he happened to be in the right place and brought Onyeruka down.
2nd down and 10. Eye in the backfield. Pat Till lines up back there with Onyeruka, but Onyeruka now does not get the handoff. Little play action, and they'll throw to the tight end. It's caught as the catch is made by Till out of the backfield. So we'll see what they do as far as the gain here. It's down to the 10-yard line. And it'll be 3rd down and 6, a pickup of 4. Let's go to the sideline and Nick Stroud. They'll pitch it out to Onyeruka, and he tries to get over the left side, having trouble turning the corner, but he does pick up about 3 on the 3rd down play. So the Rochester Yellow Jackets will have a decision to make here.
He'll be close to a first down.
And they are going to say he got the first down. So he is out at the 11-yard line. And it'll be first down. I should say he's out of bounds at the 6-yard line, so it'll be 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. So Onyeruka gets the first down for Rochester. Rochester was a very good road team a year ago. They were 4-2 on the road last year, but down 31-0 here. Bad snap. Barrett picks it up, hands it to Onyeruka. He gets down again inside the 10, but not quite back to the line of scrimmage. Busted play. And they almost ended up getting some running room for Onyeruka, but he was tripped up and might have lost a yard on the play.
Well, as Barrett gave the ball to Onyeruka, he was wrapped up and rolled up by John Genovese, the defensive lineman for Case. And Barrett again got up slow, shaking his leg, almost as if he had an ankle rolled up under.
Pat Till, the fullback, Onyeruka the tailback, eye in the backfield. Cool ball goes in motion. Barrett calls out the signals, takes the snap. He'll go back, hand to Onyeruka, and he is hit, driven back. No gain on the play. So a 3rd down and goal for Rochester after they had it 1st and goal at the 6. They have been moved back to the 8-yard line. And so a 3rd and goal now for the Yellow Jackets, trailing 31-0. Case all over Rochester today in the 2008 home opener for the Spartans at Case Field. 3rd quarter action. Barrett again, eye in the backfield. Cool ball in motion. He'll come to the near side. Barrett will go to Cool ball. They'll swing it out to the near hash mark, and he is pushed out of bounds at the 5. They get 3 yards on the play, but a 4th down and goal from the 5-yard line now, Ed, and they just could not spring him free to turn the corner.
Bobby Bott and Bradley Paramore doing a nice job stringing that play out. Ben Klabina back on the field for Case. He was also in on the tackle. When Coolball initially lined up, he was one-on-one on the far side of the field with Derek Sharp. Looked like Rochester was maybe going to think about a one-on-one lob pass to the corner, but then he came in motion. They went with the swing pass, and the secondary did a nice job stringing that out.
Well, if Scott Green, the head coach of Rochester, paid attention to what happened to Romeo Crennel last Sunday, he will not go for the field goal here. 4th and goal from the 5, and they'll take a timeout and talk things over. They had lined up, but Scott Green takes the timeout. 7:38 to play here in the third quarter. 31-0 Case. 4th down play for Rochester when we come back after this timeout on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Down and goal. Adam Barrett throws to the end zone. It's picked off by Jeff Brown. Brown will be tackled in the end zone. Case will have the football at the 20-yard line. Jeff Brown with the interception, his second of the year. And on the 4th and 5 play, Rochester denied as the Spartans defense holds and the shutout intact. It's still 31-0 Case with 7.5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
Barrett was looking for Pedro Sosa, the tight end, just in the middle of the field, but the linebackers collapsed in front of him and created almost a blue wall to throw through. Barrett couldn't thread the needle, and Jeff Brown came up with the interception.
So the offense back out. Joey Baum will line up with Greg Meyer in the backfield. Meyer gets the handoff. He is hit hard. Falls at the 20-yard line. No gain, 2nd down and 10 for Case. The men's and women's soccer team at Case Western Reserve in action today. Both of those teams are 3-1. No huddle offense here. They go back to Meyer. He slashes his way to the 24-yard line. So a quick 3rd down coming up for Case. The men's team will be on the road at Oberlin tonight at 7 o'clock as a Case player is shaken up.
It's Neil Dolan down the center.
Yeah, Dolan slow getting up, so they'll go out and see what the problem is with Neil, but he too is seated and having some issues with his leg. Men's team will be at Oberlin tonight for a 7 o'clock match. The women's team playing at Baldwin Wallace today at 4:30. So good luck to both of those teams. Dolan is up and walking off the field now, but somewhat gingerly. Looks like his right leg bothering him, but he is walking off pretty much under his own power right now.
Corey Leshin is checked in at center for the Spartans. Case also thin up front on the offensive line. Ryan Breon is not dressed today. Breon, a big member of last year's team.
6:48 to play in the third quarter. 31-0 Case. Baum back to throw. Goes to the sideline looking for Brian Webster. It's incomplete. A little bit overthrown. Brian has not caught a pass today. In fact, only 3 receptions today by Case Western Reserve. Zach Homick with a pair of catches, and Ryan Colasar had that touchdown reception of 44 yards in the first quarter.
Well, for the first time today, we'll see Dan Vassell come on, the freshman from Erie, PA. Will do the punting in the absence of Dan Whalen.
Yeah, actually, Dan Whalen and Brian Calderon, who both are experienced punters, out of action. So Vassell handling the punting chores today for Case. He gets the snap and will kick it away just in front of his own 10. It's a short kick that takes a Case bounce out past midfield. It rolls down to the 45, and Bobby Bott will touch it. And that's where the Yellow Jackets will take over with 6.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter. And after the good Case bounce, the Rochester Yellow Jackets will start at their own 46-yard line. Case at Oberlin next Saturday for a 1 o'clock game, as they will take the road again and then come back home on the 4th for homecoming here at Case Western Reserve. And that will be against the Denison Big Red. And a new quarterback is in the game now for the University of Rochester. It's Brazen Subik. And he fumbles the snap. Now gets a hold of it and ends up losing a yard, trying to dive back forward for the original line of scrimmage, but it will lose a yard. Second down and 11. Subik, the freshman, 6 feet tall, 199 pounds, and Adam Barrett's day likely over, and he has taken some pretty good hits today, Ed, and will likely be spending some time in the whirlpool after the game.
Well, Barrett's standing on the sideline.
Yeah, I do see him. You're exactly right. Not too far down the sideline. So Subik is in there for the moment. He will go back and fake a handoff to Onyeruka. Now he fires downfield, and the pass is caught as he finally hooks up with Pedro Sosa. Sosa, the tight end, making his first catch of the day, and it's all the way down to the Case 30-yard line.
Well, Sosa's a big target, 6'2", 235, went over the middle, and with his jump and his hands in the air, made himself probably close to 9 feet tall. Brought it in before he was upended by Bradley Paramore.
24-yard pickup all the way down to the 31-yard line. 5:27 to go now in the third quarter. 31-0 Case on a rainy Saturday afternoon in Cleveland. Subik hands it off to Onyeruka, and he is hit and driven back by Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown with the tackle on Onyeruka. Second down and long coming up. No gain on the play for Onyeruka. Rochester leads the all-time series with Case 9-5.
Well, they talked about Onyeruka getting between 25 and 30 touches this afternoon, and on the ground he has 24, but just 65 yards?
60 yards so far today, Ed. So, yeah, he has worked to get every yard that he has. Onyeruka out of the backfield will catch a pass. This time they go to him over on the far side. He gets across the 30, down close to the 26-yard line, so a pickup of 5, but third down is coming up.
Subik did a nice job of leading Onyeruka out there in the flat. Onyeruka just kind of took that little banana route out of the backfield, caught it in stride, but was met out there, and on first contact went down.
So third down and 5 now from the 26-yard line. The University of Rochester making the trip over to Cleveland today to open their season against Case Western Reserve. They were 6-5 in 2007. Here is a quick snap. They throw it out to Coolball, gets across the 25, down close to the 20-yard line, and should have enough for the first down. In fact, it's out of bounds at the 18, so a first down play as they hook up with Coolball for the pass. Subik has come in and now has completed 3 passes. 8-yard pickup to Coolball. Subik 3 for 3 for 37 yards.
Well, Case offensively has had just 3 offensive plays here in the quarter. Rochester's done a nice job of moving the ball between the 20s, but stalled out on their last drive with the interception.
Subik takes the snap. He'll hand to Onyeruka. He has some running room to the 15, down close to the 10 before he's driven out of bounds by the Spartans. Clock stops with 3:21 to go here in the third quarter, as Onyeruka showed some speed there, getting around the left side, and he's out of bounds right at the 10-yard line. Second down and 2 after an 8-yard pickup.
Offensively, Case has had the ball for just 59 seconds here in the third quarter.
Of course, Bobby Bott started the quarter with that 84-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Spartans have had, characteristically, some big plays today. 44-yard touchdown pass to Ryan Colasar in the first quarter. Corey Chekin had a 27-yard touchdown run. Now Subic rolling out. He is grabbed and he gets rid of the football, throws an incomplete pass as he had Rich Doolin all over him.
Pass was intended for Mike Coolbaugh. And even if he had caught the football, Bobby Bont was right there along with Mike Pelyak.
It'll be 3rd down and 2. Doolin, the freshman out of Bethel Park, PA, was there on the pursuit of Brazen Subic. And so 3rd down and 2. They'll line up Till and Onyeruka in the backfield. Inglesby wide to the left. Coolbaugh right side in motion, goes to the slot. They'll hand it off to Onyeruka. He is tripped up, still on his feet, trying to get to that first down marker. Gang tackled over on the far side, and he may be behind the 10-yard line.
Jeff Brown didn't make the tackle, but he did enough to slow up Onyeruka before the pursuit could get there. Mike Pelyak, John Genovese, Dan Fody also on the pile for the Case Spartans. So nice job by Brown, even though he doesn't get credit with the tackle. He really forced Onyeruka to start and stop and not get to the corner.
And so it is 4th down and 2 after the Spartans are able to stop Onyeruka on the 3rd down play. Right now, Rochester 4 for 13 in 3rd down conversions today. They'll go for it on 4th down, throwing toward Inglesby on the far side, and a pass interference call against the Spartans.
Yeah, they're going to get Derek Sharp for coming through the receiver, Inglesby, and he did. There was contact while the ball was in the air and before the pass got to the receiver. So just a little anxious.
That was an absolute rocket from Subic, headed over there to the far sideline near the pylon. And there's the pass interference call against Case Western Reserve, and that will give the Yellow Jackets a 1st down. And they will move it half the distance to the goal line. It's down to the 6. 1st and goal from the 6-yard line now for Rochester, which is the exact situation they were in on their last drive. They ended up losing a couple of yards and throwing an interception on a 4th down play. 31-0 Case, 2:02 to go in the 3rd quarter. They'll hand it to Onyeruka, and he is hit and dropped. Football is loose, but I believe they say the ball carrier was down before the ball came loose. And so Onyeruka tackled again for a loss as he is back now near the 8-yard line.
Jeff Brown again in there on the tackle for Case. It just seems like he's all over the field today, Dave.
Brown, who had 6 tackles last week, is the co-defensive player of the week for the University Athletic Association. And so far today, he is playing a very, very solid defensive game for the Spartans. 31-0, just over a minute to play. 2nd down and goal from the 8-yard line for Rochester. Subic goes back to throw, fires it for Inglesby in the end zone. He makes the catch. It's a touchdown. 8-yard touchdown pass from Brazen Subic to Zach Inglesby. And it's a 31-6 score now as Rochester gets on the board.
Most of the Case defenders thought the ball was incomplete. But the officials standing there are going to call it a touchdown.
So Rochester does get on the board. They avoid the shutout. It's 31-6, and the Yellow Jackets will go for a 2-point conversion. So Case will get the defensive unit back on there. Spartans today playing without Dan Whalen, Brian Calderon, and Tim Cowdrick. Ryan Breon also not in the game for Case today. 2-point conversion try will wait as whistles blow, and Case uses a timeout. Case calls timeout, and we will step away as well. 1:04 to go in the 3rd quarter, 31-6 Case. Back with more in just a moment on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. And it looks like there was a penalty called against Case Western Reserve.
Case had 12 men on the field.
So coming out of the timeout, which was taken by Case, they had an extra man out there, and so they moved the football to the 1.5-yard line for this 2-point conversion try. Brazen Subic takes the snap in the shotgun. He'll throw a timing pattern to the corner of the end zone. It's incomplete. Intended for Tom Malszewski, the 6'5 senior who could not run under that ball. It had some air under it, but falls incomplete. So the score, 31-6. Case leading Rochester late in the third quarter.
Well, if you look at the one stat in terms of total yards, Case is trailing by 34 yards. Rochester has put up 254 yards in offense. Case just 220. And then you combine that with a time of possession that's nearly 3-1 in favor of Rochester. They've had the ball for 33 of the 44 minutes played here today. And you would think that Case would be either in a dogfight or possibly trailing in the ballgame. Instead, they lead by 25 points on the strength of some big plays in the ballgame.
Yeah, time of possession, 10:52 for Case, 33:04 for Rochester. That offensive unit has to be gassed right now. They did march down and score, so it's 31-6, and Case will get the kickoff reception here. Gonsalves and Bott back deep for Case Western Reserve, and the wind blows the football off the tee, and they will get that set up again.
Remember here in the third quarter, Dave, that the Spartans have run just 3 offensive plays and had the ball for less than a minute, 59 seconds here in the third quarter.
Zachary White-Stellato, the kicker for Rochester, and he has the ball slip off the tee again, so someone will come over and hold that for him.
Elvis and Joke, or Njoku.
Njoku will hold the ball on the tee for Zach White-Stellato. The receiver back deep along with Bott was not Gonsalves. It is Brian Medelsitz, the freshman, and it looks like Medelsitz will get a chance to bring this one back. He catches it at the 16-yard line, drops it, picks it up, and gets it back out across the 25 to the 27, a return of 11 yards. So Medelsitz brings the football back, and Case will take over with 58 seconds left in the third quarter. 58 seconds left in the third quarter. Case takes over. The football marked at the 28-yard line, so a 12-yard return by Medelsitz, and Case will have it.
Neil Dolan still not back in the ballgame. Corey Leshin is still the center.
Dolan was doing some work on the sideline to try and see if he could be back, but right now a lot of the starters will probably start to take the rest of the day off. Bill Deitman carries for Case, gets out close to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 6. And a 2nd down and 4 play coming up for Case with 44 seconds left in the third quarter.
Sean Simpson for Rochester just put his helmet right on Bill Deitman's sternum and planted him at the 33-yard line after a pickup of 5.
Deitman comes out of the football game and appears to be all right over on the sideline.
It's a couple of jokes from Dan Whalen and Tim Cowdrick also having a couple of words for Bill Deitman.
19 seconds left. This will likely be the final play, maybe not. Flags come out. I was going to say it would be the final play of the third quarter, but
it's an encroachment or a neutral zone violation.
And it's going to go against the Spartans, so they'll mark it back. And this one will be marked at the 29-yard line, 5-yard penalty. And that'll make it 2nd down and 9 for Case.
So Kanan Webb, the defensive tackle, moved for Rochester, but that had to be probably in response to somebody on the left side of the line for Case moving.
3 receivers in the game for Case. And Baum will go back. He'll hand it to Derek Bush. Bush tripped up, falls at the 30, absorbs a hit, and that'll be the end of the third quarter. So at the end of 3, it's 31-6. Case leading the University of Rochester here in the 2008 home opener at Case Field. We'll be back with fourth quarter action in just a moment. You're listening to the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Fourth quarter about to get started here. 15 minutes on the clock. Case leading it by a score of 31-6 here at Case Field. Joey Baum from the shotgun. Third down and 8 for Case from the 30-yard line. Baum will swing it out on the sideline. Incomplete, looking for Derek Bush. And a 4th and 8 coming up for Case, and the Spartans will have to punt it away.
Some third quarter stats for you, Dave. For Rochester, 134 yards on the ground, 120 yards through the air, so 61 plays, 254 yards in total offense. Case, 142 yards on the ground, 86 in the air, so 24 plays for the Spartans, 228 yards. Time of possession, 33:04 to 11:56.
And the time of possession will get a little larger for Rochester as they will take this punt. Dan Vassell back. He gets the right foot into it. A good kick. Lands at the 35. Takes a Case bounce. This will roll all the way down past the 25 and stop at the 21-yard line. 49-yard punt for Dan Vassell. And the Spartans pin Rochester deep with 14:42 to go here in the fourth quarter. 31-6 Case rolling today in the home opener on a soggy day here in Cleveland. The rain has pretty much subsided. Still very light rain falling here. I don't think it's ever been totally without rain today. Subic is still in for Rochester. Quick pass out into the flat, and it's caught by Mike Coolbaugh, and he's wrestled out of bounds and picks up a gain of 1.
Brian Calderon standing on the sideline on crutches just in front of that play, kind of hustled his way away from contact as the play rolled towards him. Last thing we need is Brian Calderon to get hit standing on crutches on the sideline.
Has that left knee heavily taped and supported. Injured last week against Kenyon, as was Dan Whalen, as was Tim Cowdrick. 14:18 to play in the fourth quarter. They dump it off on a screen pass to Inglesby. He has some running room out across the 30. He is hit maybe short of the first down. They needed to get out to the 31-yard line.
It's a little center screen, and what sprung him was a key block from Zach Feldman. The center hit Jeff Brown, who was coming up to defend the play. And it was a pancake from Feldman on Brown, and that sprung him for the first down.
He does get the first down. And so they got exactly what they needed, 8 yards on the play. And they'll huddle up with now just 14 on the play clock. So they hustle up to the line now. First down and 10. 31-6 Case. Rochester with the ball in their own territory at the 31-yard line. Subic calls out the signals. And he'll flip it back to Onyeruka. Picks his way forward back to the line of scrimmage, but he's hit, knocked down, and tackled. And the Spartans snuff that play out.
They've done a nice job holding Onyeruka in check today. That's now 28 carries for Onyeruka and just 66 yards on the ground. So he's averaging a little over 2 yards per carry. Nice job by Case containing the big man.
Brian Rice, the freshman out of Newcastle, PA, was in there on the tackle of Onyeruka. 31-6 right now. Case leading it after running up 62 points a week ago. Subic from the shotgun. Onyeruka in the backfield. Now Zubik goes back, dumps it off to Onyeruka to the 35, out to the 40-yard line. And he is tackled at the 39, so a pickup of 8, very close to a first down. It'll be a short third down situation.
Rochester very close to having ineligible men downfield. You can run a screen pass in college as long as it's completed behind the line of scrimmage. Onyeruka very close to the line when he caught the football.
Here's the shotgun snap to Subic. He goes back, fires it downfield, incomplete. He aired it out over Pedro Sosa. Actually, that was Tom Malshevsky who could not come up with that pass. And it is 4th down and 2 for Rochester in their own territory. So it's at the 39 of Rochester. We'll see if they decide to go for it. Subic over there talking with Scott Green. And he will head back over to the huddle now.
Green's taken an interesting route to the head coaching position at Rochester. Drafted in the 6th round in the '96 NFL draft by Carolina. Played 2 years with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis.
Onyeruka falls down before he hits the line of scrimmage, and the Spartans will get it back on downs as the 4th down conversion fails for Rochester. Onyeruka might have slipped on the wet turf as he goes down after taking the flip from Brazen Subic, and Case inherits the ball deep in Rochester territory at the 36-yard line.
Looks like the Yellow Jackets went with a quick snap count on that, and it didn't pay off as Onyeruka fell down.
They'll hand it to Derek Bush, and he tries to get around the left side, but he is tackled over there. Defensive coverage provided by Chris Pasoda, and it goes for maybe a yard. 2nd down and 9 for Case with 12:05 to play here in the 4th quarter at Case Field.
Smartest play for the Spartans in the remaining 12 minutes is to keep the ball between the numbers, let that clock just tick away, and pick up the 2nd win of the season.
3 receivers in the game for Joey Baum. He looks down the right side. He'll air it out to the sideline for Zach Homick. He makes the catch. Homick inside the 10, out of bounds at the 9-yard line.
Homick was curling towards the middle. Looked like he wanted to get inside, then had to stop, turn himself completely around, made the adjustment on the ball in the air, caught the football falling out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Great play by Zach Homick.
It's his 3rd catch of the day. Zach Homick, the sophomore wideout from Chicago, Illinois.
Homick, who had just 5 catches last year, now has 9 on the season.
He was the leading receiver last week. They'll hand it to Derek Bush, has some blocking, gets to the 5, and he's in for the touchdown.
Boy, that looked like just a junior high power sweep coming out of the tight T formation to the near side of the field, and Greg Meyer leading the way, as well as Chris Center on the offensive line, and they powered their way into the end zone for another touchdown for the Spartans.
So Derek Bush scores his first touchdown of the season, and Sam Coffey sets up for the extra point. It's 37-6 as Case extends the lead. Now Coffey boots it through. 38-6, the Spartans leading it with 11:18 to go here in the 4th quarter. We'll step away for this timeout. Back with more at Case Western Reserve University in a moment on the Spartans Broadcasting Network.
100 points in 2 games.
$16-8, and it keeps retraining, so we'll just have to deal with it for another few minutes. Derek Bush with the touchdown run of 9 yards. Case has scored 3 touchdowns on the ground today. Corey Chekin, Billy Deitman, and Derek Bush. And now it is a 38-6 ball game. Case now and even 100 points in its first 2 games of the season. 62 last week, 38 so far today in the game against Rochester. Here is the kickoff, a booming kick by Sam Coffey. It's touched and picked up at the 2-yard line. Run back by Rochester's Elvis Njoku, and he looked at a bit confused out there. He touched the football and I think was planning on taking it for a touchback, but once he touched it, it was a live ball down at the 2-yard line.
Well, he touched it, and he was in the end zone with his feet, but his hands were outside, and when the ball fell down, it fell into the playing field. I think he was hoping that it would fall into the end zone and would be considered a muff and the ability to take the touchback at that point. He realized it was on the turf and needed to pick it up and run it out at that point.
He only gets back to the 14-yard line, and so that's where the Rochester offense will start. Subic still in the game at quarterback. They'll hand it up the middle, and now we get some new personnel in for Rochester. That looked like R.J. Napadano getting the call. Napadano, a sophomore out of Pittsford, New York, seeing his first action today. He picks up 1, 2nd down and 9 for the Yellow Jackets. Case with a commanding lead here today of 38-6 with 10:40 to play in the 4th quarter on a very, very wet, breezy day here at Case. Calling out the signals. Zubik goes back. He'll roll to his left, near sideline. Now he tucks it under, gets hit out of bounds. Driven out of bounds by Corey Sylvie of the Spartans as we start to see a lot of second-string players come into the ball game. And right now you just hope they'll be able to get through the rest of this game injury-free.
Well, especially with the nagging injuries that you're nursing from week 1. At this point, it probably is in the best interest to get most of your starters out of the ball game.
10:04 to play with the out of bounds. The clock stops.
Jeff Brown still in the ball game, so is Mike Pelyak. Other than that, it looks to be mostly reserves on the defensive side of the football. We have a delay of game on the Yellow Jackets.
This will move it back from the 18 back to the 13-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 11 for the Yellow Jackets. Officials talking that over. We'll see. Now they're going to pick the flag up. So no penalty, but a timeout was taken. Okay, so they got a timeout in. We'll take one as well. 9:50 to go here in the football game. 38-6 Case. We'll be back with more 4th quarter action in a moment on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Well, they complete a pass out to Mike Coolball. He gets out across the 20-yard line. He might have made the 23. And we'll see a 4th down play coming up here. It should be 4th and 1. 4th down and 1 for Rochester. 9:26 to play in the 4th quarter. 38-6 Case. David Wilson, Ed Doherty, Nick Stroud on the sideline. Case all over Rochester today in a game that I think many thought would be much closer than it has been. But Case has played remarkably well, and again, a whistle blows, and we'll see if we have another timeout taken or not. That is a timeout taken by Case Western Reserve. So the Spartans stopped the play, and perhaps they did not have the right combination on there that they wanted.
They only had 10 men.
Yeah, 10 men on the field.
It looked like John Hamill checked out, and Case was short a player at that point, getting back onto the field.
So a timeout taken. We will keep it here during the timeout. The Spartans, Ed, have really dominated today, but not in the way you would normally expect on the stat sheet. Much the time of possession swings in favor of Rochester. Total yards, Rochester with an advantage. Not eye-popping stats today, but the reason is that Case has scored so efficiently and quickly on many occasions in this game. Right now they lead it 38-6. 4th down and 1 for Rochester from their own 23. Zubik will call out the signals, take the snap to Onyeruka. He dives ahead.
I don't think he got it.
I do not believe he got the first down. They try to run it straight ahead. He is knocked down. Jeff Brown leading the charge there. And Onyeruka will be short of the first down, even with a favorable spot. I don't think he got the first down, and Case has the football.
Yeah, the near side linesman initially marked it well short. The question was whether or not it would match up with the far side. And Onyeruka took off. He wanted to dive over a pile, but he didn't really get airborne and just kind of fell into the red or the blue shirts.
So Case takes over. The football is at the Rochester 23-yard line. New quarterback is in for Case. 9:03 to play here in the fourth quarter. 38-6, and this one gets handed up the middle, and I believe that was Greg Meyer carrying it. Actually, Derek Bush, the ball carrier. And he gets a couple on the play. 2nd down coming up for Case. We'll find out who is in at quarterback. The number does not match our roster. And we'll verify who that is. Second down and 9, so they give him 1 on the play. 8:25 to go here in the fourth quarter, and now movement on the line by Case, and that elicits a flag coming out for the 2nd down play, and this will be procedure penalty against Case Western Reserve. And so they will mark that back 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 14, and the verdict, Ed, is?
Max Bohan is the quarterback. And now Greg Kingscott is in at quarterback for Case.
So they run Kingscott in there. Greg Kingscott, the 6-foot sophomore out of Cabin John, Maryland, went to Walt Whitman High School. He'll keep it himself. Runs it back across the 25. Falls to the 22, which is close to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down coming up for Case here. And the key right now is keep the clock moving. As they are, 7:50 to go here in the fourth quarter. A big day for Case, 38-6, as they have really played well in the home opener today, but not the usual Case box score. You look on the receiving box, you only see 2 men, Zach Homick and Ryan Colasar, who have caught passes today. Nothing for Brian Webster or Sean Nicely. 7:20 to play here in the quarter. They'll snap it to Kingscott. He'll run it again. Gets to the 20. And it'll be a 4th down and about 7 for Case coming up. So we'll see if they set up for a field goal here. It would be a 37-yarder for Sam Coffey.
Well, I think Kingscott's going to come back out and run the offense.
Yep, no field goal set up right now. So a 4th down and 8.
Little quick conversation with head coach Greg Debelak.
King Scott will go over center, eyeing the backfield now with Bush and Meyer. Colasar on the left. Another receiver on the right. Now a naked bootleg. He turns, makes for the right side. King Scott is tackled at the 15-yard line. He's short of the first down. They needed to get over to the 13, and so Case gives it back on downs as King Scott is tackled short of the marker.
I think on a dry turf, King Scott will turn that corner and pick up the yardage necessary. But it was a little hesitant on his footwork as he tried to turn the corner. He didn't want to slip. Tiptoed the first several steps as he accelerated, and that left him just short of the first down.
So Case gives it up, and Rochester will get it back with 6.5 minutes to play now in the football game. 38-6 Case. They lead it by 32. The Spartans have produced 100 points in their first 2 games of the 2008 season. New quarterback is in for Rochester now as well. This one is picked off by Bobby Bott.
Haps Killing Stand is the new quarterback for Rochester, and his first pass of the afternoon was picked off by Bobby Bott stepping in the passing lane. Bott's second interception of the ball game.
Bobby Bott, who also ran back a kickoff for a touchdown earlier, steps right into the passing lane and picks that one off. As Caps Killingstad throws one pass and it's picked off, and Case now will come back out with the offensive unit on the 16-yard line of Rochester.
That's Max Bohan in at quarterback now for the Spartans.
So Bohan out there, and the bad snap goes over his head. Meyer falls on it back at the 34-yard line. A loss of 18 on the play. 6:10 to play here in the fourth quarter, and right now, Ed, it's mop-up time, no matter how you slice it, trying to get to the end of the football game. Not that Case wants to see plays like that, but the idea now with the game certainly not in doubt, you get some guys in for some game experience, but you don't want to get anybody hurt. You don't want to stop the clock.
Well, a whole new offensive line in the ball game as well.
Here's the snap. Again, Greg Kingscott is in the football game. He loses it. It's a fumble. It's picked up by Rochester. And the Yellow Jackets get it as Matt Francis, the sophomore defensive back, falls on the ball after it was popped loose from Greg Kingscott all the way back at the 47-yard line of Rochester. So with 5:36 to go, the Spartans turn it over, and the Rochester offensive unit will come back out and take over. So a turnover by Rochester on the interception by Bobby Bott. And then the Spartans return the favor on the fumble by Kingscott. And the Spartans, who took over at the 16, give it up at the 47.
Subic back in at quarterback for the Yellow Jackets.
Brazen Subic goes back. He'll hand it to R.J. Napadano. And Napadano gets out across midfield. And they mark him down in Case territory at the 48-yard line. Well, Ed, coming into this game, there were some question marks playing without Dan Whalen and without Brian Calderon. And we knew likely to be without Tim Cowdrick. And yet the Spartans seem to be as efficient as always, capable of the big play, which we've seen today. Special teams play as explosive as ever. Back to throw Subic, looking deep downfield, middle of the field, looking for a cool ball, and it's incomplete, slightly underthrown. Bott on the coverage.
Well, Bobby Bott almost had his third interception of the ball game. I think at this point it's just a matter of getting the clock to tick down the final 4.5+ minutes.
Certainly, you never would want to lose Dan Whalen at any time during the season, let alone week one. But yet, the way Joey Baum has played has to make Greg Debelak and company feel better about the situation, not knowing exactly how long Whalen will be out. Now, he was dressed today and probably could have played in a pinch, but Ballman's done a very nice job as Subic goes back to throw again, threads the needle with a pass. It's tipped and falls incomplete.
Well, and you have to think with Dan Whalen as well, looking at the score 62-0 after the third quarter last week, and it was 31-0 basically after the first 13 seconds into the third quarter. You would have to assume that Dan Whalen wouldn't have played the full games either way. He probably would have played most of the first half last week and maybe the first half and the first series in the third quarter as well.
Fourth down play coming up for Rochester. We'll get the punt coming up here. It'll be punted away by Pat Till. He drops the snap, now gets the punt away just barely before the block came in, and it will be downed inside the 15. And that's where Case will take over. Let's go down to the sideline. And Nick Stroud.
Well, guys, it's been a big day for the Spartan defense and a big day for Bobby Bott on that last drive, getting his second interception of the game. When he came off the field, teammates were there to congratulate him. Jeff Brown came up to him and said, "Hey, come on, man, you're doing good out there, but how come you couldn't return one of those 2 picks to the house?" Well, he quickly replied, "Hey, I did take a kick return to the house," but Jeff Brown told him that doesn't count. You need to do it on defense, guys.
Well, Jeff Brown certainly has some room to talk. He is taken a couple interceptions away, run one back for a touchdown already this season. Bobby Bott now with 2 interceptions today, so the defense clicking on all cylinders. And Bott, of course, as Nick alluded to, that kickoff return for a touchdown to start the third quarter for Case. 4:10 to play. We are at Case Field today at University Circle for the 2008 home opener for the Spartans. Max Bowen in the game right now for the Spartans, as we have gone the distance on the depth chart today, as we did last week. They will hand this one. Looked like Bill Deitman in the ball game, getting a carry. Just off tackle, keeps the clock moving. Football marked at the 17, but that one loses 2 yards back to the 15-yard line.
A couple of freshmen in as wide receivers, Charlie Buckingham, Matthew Davis in the ball game for the Spartans.
Deitman remains in the backfield, and right now Greg Meyer checks in as well.
This is the kind of experience these guys got last year that really propelled Case forward as the season went on and put more confidence in the second and third teamers in Greg Doublak's mind.
Well, there's no doubt that the playing time will benefit Case in the long run. Bill Deitman absorbs another big hit. He gets short across the 15, short of the 20-yard line. And this will bring about fourth down and long for Case. They'll bring the punting unit on, and Rochester will take over following the punt. Mike Coolbaugh back deep to receive for the Yellow Jackets. Dan Vassell on to kick it away for Case. He'll kick from his own 5. The snap is good, right to Vassell. He gets the kick away, and it will bounce and take a good Case bounce all the way back past the 30 to the Rochester 27-yard line, and that's where the Yellow Jackets will take over with 2:10 to play now in the fourth quarter. Coming up after the game, Nick Stroud will be on the field with some post-game reaction for you and get some thoughts following this big Case victory here today. And we assume it will be a victory, barring a complete and total historical comeback. 38-6, Case leading it by 32 points. Rochester has had the football just under 40 minutes of this football game. Case has had it under 19. But the Spartans have shown the quick strike capability again today. Brazen Subic takes the snap. He'll hand it up the middle. And this is, to bring out our pronunciation guide, Ed. Brian Sajis carries the football. Byron Sajis, 5'10", 195, out of New Hartford, New York.
Final couple of plays will tick away here.
2nd down and 6. Sajis gets 4 on the play. It's turned out to be a very warm day now as the rain has all but stopped. But a very wet day for football early on. I'll hand this one to Sajis again, who is hit and dropped back at the 25-yard line. So a loss of about 4 on the play. .109 to play now. Clock continues to move. We're in the final minute of the football game today. So Case will improve to 2-0 and prepare for next Saturday against Oberlin College. 45 seconds left. They'll hand it to Sajis again. Picks his way forward and almost broke into open territory. He gets out to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 11 yards. 38-6. They'll move the chains now with 40 seconds left in the football game and a 32-point lead for Case. And we should be watching the final couple of plays of the football game. First down play coming up with just 25 seconds left. Case leading this one big today. Sajis will get the handoff, spins, and is tackled, and that should be it. Just 14 seconds left. The clock continues to move, and the Spartans win this game today by a score of 38-6 over the Rochester Yellow Jackets of the Liberty Football League. And the Spartans go to 2-0, and Nick Stroud is on the field with Joey Baum.
We just came out and, we executed as well as we could, and we just, things went our way. So,
How important was ball control for you today with this rain out here?
oh, that's the one thing we talked about the whole game, that whoever wins the turnover battle in this game was going to win the game, and that's just what we did. First thing and last thing was take care of the ball. That was all we were thinking about.
All right, so to come in and get the start today, were you feeling a little pressure coming into this one?
You're always nervous before the game, but you just try to do what you do in practice every day and just go out there and do your best.
What about that first pass, man? You think it'd take a little bit of time for you to settle in, but then you go and hit a touchdown pass on your first play of the game?
Oh, yeah, that was fun. It was just, you got to do what you got to do.
All right, Joey, thanks. All right, back to you guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Nick Stroud, and we may get another guest for Nick momentarily, but Joey Baum doing that last week as well, coming in and throwing a touchdown pass upon entering the football game. It's a final today at Case Field, 38-6. Case a winner. We'll have our post-game show coming up in just a moment with more from the field as well as a look at the final stats. That's when we continue from Case Field after this timeout on the Spartans Broadcasting Network.